Yeah. Hey. Shipped from the shores of Cape Coast, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Senegal, black gold they were hauling. 400 years it was hard then. Kept striving to be free from Marcus Dubois. Can't forget Kwame. For reparations they did pray. To unite in their honor we do say, Yanko, Yanko, Africa. Yanko, Yanko, Africa. Yanko, Yanko, Africa. Yanko, Yanko, Africa.
Welcome to the Yanko Africa YouTube channel. My name is Ama and I thank you for tuning in on today. And today I want to talk to you, as you can see in the title, I'm going to be speaking on what I believe will turn not only Ghana but Africa's economic stance or status or standing around overnight if this is implemented. Okay, and so I want to speak on that. I actually have already recorded a share on that, but then I came online and two things happened. First, I had already planned on speaking on this, but then I tuned in to a channel that I'm subscribed to, which this is the person whose channel I was listening to. Her name is Eve, and I would ask you to go over and check it out. And she was discussing her plans for future projects in Ghana and the year of return, and she was discussing it from the perspective of a person whose parents were born on the continent, but she was born in Canada. But she loves Ghana and her plans on working with the continent, and just, go over and listen to her share and actually subscribe as well, right? But she asked a question during that share. She asked, what can be done to turn Ghana's economic, to improve or turn around Ghana's economic standing, okay? And so this is something, like I said, I wanted to share on and had planned on sharing on. And then I went and actually recorded my audio. When I got through recording it, I came back and looked online, and here's a speech that Papa Nana gave, Nana Akufo Addo gave, and I want to speak to that because his comments go along but are not all inclusive. So please don't make any assumptions about where I'm going. But I'm going to respond to what he stated, and I'm going to say how the two go together, okay? How they're pretty much in line, but mine expounds beyond to what I believe is the real problem. And if we get that resolved, we will see a turn around overnight. I truly believe this, okay? All right, so hold on just one moment. I'm going to play what he says, but in the meantime, I want to thank those of you who have already subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, go ahead and do that, and also click the notification bell so that you can get every upload, because I'm going to be uploading, Yah willing, important shares that's going to be time sensitive, like flight sales, because a number of you have spoken about issues with finding affordable tickets, and you're right, okay? And so I'm going to do my best to try to get those when I find them up as soon as possible, so that you can take advantage of them, or issues with housing, houses that become available, rentals that you may be interested in. Our purpose here at Yanko Africa is to, if you haven't been to our website, go ahead and check it out, is to serve the diaspora, the African diaspora, those of us who are descendants of slaves who were taken around the world, and those of you who may have been born on the continent, or like Eve, who may be children of those who were born on the continent, but are looking to partner with the continent, work with the continent, move back to the continent, build homes or visit, whatever it is. We're going to discuss real estate issues. We're going to discuss how to build, how to rent, how to set things up for your kids to go to school. Every issue addressing the diaspora and us working with the continent and building relationships, family, friends, love, all of that, okay, is going to be addressed. So if you haven't had a chance to go over to our site, by all means do. We also have a Patreon page where we're going to be going into more detail, offering consultation for people, going out and taking views of your property, recording it for you if you have an interest in something, just doing a lot of legwork that you can't do when you're abroad. So look forward to that, and we'll get into that at another time, okay? But now I want to listen to what Papa Nana said, so give me just a moment. All right, so here we go. Please listen to it in its entirety and what I have to say as well. And please know, I mean no disrespect by calling him Papa Nana. We are speaking of the same President Akufo Addo. All right, so here we go.
Mr. President, the application of technology can be the tool to set us on the road to prosperity. The modernization of agriculture through the application of technology could well turn out to be the fastest way to make the turnaround that we seek. The young people of the world, especially the youth of Ghana and Africa, have demonstrated their ingenuity and innovative prowess, and we need to enlist them fully in the fight. It would be an easier battle, of course, if trade practices were seen to be more equitable and fairer. The question always remains whether the rich nations are prepared for an equitable and fair trading order. It appears that they are not, and we have thus to continue to fight for a fairer world economic order. That the minerals on which the world depends to move industry and manufacturing are mostly available in Africa. And yet we, who own these fundamental resources by birthright, have remained poor, whilst our minerals have brought vast wealth to nations and peoples outside our continent. It is worth pointing out also that not only do we not get a fair share of the wealth once extracted, our lands, our environment, our oceans are often left devastated by the process, and the competition to gain control over these minerals has often led to insecurity in our countries. I do not seek to blame outsiders for our problems, but since we're being urged to find multilateral solutions, I believe it is worth pointing out that unfairness in the economic order undermines the fight against poverty. Indeed, the flight of capital is continuing the foreign exploitation of Africa, represented by colonialism and imperialism. The report of the panel, chaired by the highly respected former South African President, Thabo Mbeki, on the illicit flow of funds from Africa, has raised the lid on what many had always suspected, but did not have the figures to support. According to that report, Africa is losing annually more than 50 billion United States dollars through illicit financial outflows. Collaboration is certainly needed amongst nations of the world to stop this rape of Africa. The African Continental Free Trade Area, which recently came into effect, and whose secretariat Ghana has the honor of hosting, is a major collective effort by Africa to get to grips with mastery of her own development. It will be the world's largest free trade area since the formation of the World Trade Organization, and will provide the vehicle for us to trade better among ourselves, offer an opportunity to exploit our abundant wealth and resources for the benefit of our peoples, and give us protection in how to deal with other trading blocs.
All right, so we heard it there from, and let me just say this, from Papa Nana, who is also known as President Akufo Addo. And so since we're speaking about remarks made by him in his role as president, I will refer to him as president. But for me, I've been going back and forth to the continent since for the last 16 years, right? And so I became aware and of who he is years ago, and I tell you, it's been a transition, because when I first heard of him and his attempts of becoming president, let's just say this: we see President Akufo, many of us who, or many of you who are just learning about him in recent years, as this mild-mannered, well-spoken person, which he is, highly educated, intellectual. Of course he is, by all means, but let me tell you, Papa Nana is no pushover either, okay? There was one time where I had real concerns as someone who's just coming to the continent, but I tell you, it's good to see him as he is today, and also to know that he is also a fighter, okay, and he is fighting for the continent. And regardless of your political, party, I think we should all stand behind him when he's fighting a good cause that benefits not only the nation of Ghana but also the continent as a whole. And so in his statement, as you see, he says that the problem, first of all, he does not want to blame others for the problem, okay, which is the first thing that we have to do, acknowledge our role as a people in this problem, okay. Second, he says, but the problem is multilateral. It is a multilateral problem where Africa, as he has described, has been raped. And it has, okay? Yes, there are leaders who have made bad deals, who have, issues with corruption and just mismanagement and all sorts of things, and not negotiating fair trades, perhaps in their anxiousness to do business and to get some kind of income going for their nations. And so, yes, those issues do exist. But overall, okay, the world, those who are making these negotiations with the continent know that they are raping the continent, okay? And I'm very happy that he used that term point blank, okay? It is what it doggone is, okay? And so, yes, there is a problem. Now, don't assume, please do not assume that you know that I'm going to just stick with what he said only. I am going to say that there is another problem. Of course, he's speaking of, trade on items such as mineral oil, even some large deals concerning agricultural items and products. But I am going to say that the problem is not just for those, big trade deals and such. The problem goes deeper than that, and I'll tell you where the problem lies. And I may even show a video of me driving out to the location where the problem is. Let's follow them. They will make a road. And I'll show you where we went in or going in, but I'll definitely drive out, and that's to the ports. My opinion is the problem lies at the ports themselves, okay? Now, there was some recent issues with people saying that China is taking over the ports and running the ports in Africa, and it should not be. I agree, it should not be. I absolutely agree. Africans should run Africa, okay? All right, by the grace of the Almighty, all right? But here's the problem. The problems at the port is costing, he said that poor negotiated deals or poor the raping of the continent by those external powers and countries has resulted in $50 billion being lost from income dollars. 50 billion. I'm not sure if that's annually or whatever the situation is, but a total of $50 billion. That's a lot of money. Okay. And here is what I would have to say to that, yes, those deals need to be negotiated better. Our team, African team, needs to make sure that we are not underselling ourselves, but at the same time, the people, the small businesses, okay, the smaller industry, manufacturers, small business owners, people who are making and selling and trading goods and want to buy goods are the foundation of African trade, okay? And the problem lies at the ports because we ourselves are being literally raped by those who work at the port, all right? Financially raped. When you pay a fee, say for example, when you're importing something, even shipping goods to Ghana, I have had experiences where I've shipped cars, I've shipped items to the continent, and once you paid your bill, this is your final bill, you have your bill of lading, you have everything already taken care of, and when you get to the port, now you're hit with exorbitant fees, sometimes resulting, I've seen friends have to pay 3 times the value of their car. Okay, 3 times the value of their car in order to get their car released from the port. Okay, have receipts in hand, so on and so forth. I know personally the experience that I had with my car. Now I can tell you how, in my opinion, and how our experience is the best way to ship a car if you're going to ship a car. Okay, we've had our items stolen off of cars. I mean, pretty much you have to buy everything. You never think that someone's going to steal the locks, you know, the window locks, the electronic locks. There's so many things that can be stolen off a car. You will find out if you ship your car to the continent in a certain way. Okay, and even if the car is shipped in a more secure way, there are issues that arise. And so we have classes that we're offering. Some of them are free, some of them are not. If you're Patreon members, we're going to be setting those things up, and you'll be able to get access to those training courses and such, but I'll discuss that at another time. Okay, so if you have any more questions, you can go over to our website, which we're working on, so keep checking back or come back to the channel. But in the meantime, I want to tell you that the problem is at the ports, because there's so much opportunity for individuals who work at the port. There's no unified system. You know, there is no infrastructure laid to make the system transparent, to make people aware of what fees they should pay, to know where to go if someone is charging you fees that you feel that you should not pay, if there is any issue that comes up as far as the receipt that you received in the country that you shipped your items from, and what you're being told at the port. If you're exporting, there should be more transparency as far as the fees, the process, and who you can go to if there are any discrepancies or you're being asked to pay a bribe. Because Africa has so much to offer the world. Furniture that is so well made. Okay, I mean, you have furniture, wicker, rattan, bamboo. I mean, just handcrafted wood products. Sewing products, not just Afrocentric products. And even among the Afrocentric products, they are being sold to more than just Africans. People love what Africa has to offer in the area of plants and agriculture and food, and exporting food and fruits and cocoa and so many items, which we will have a course on that as well, telling you what are the top items to be shipped and the demand that's needed around the world for the items that Africa has. And you, as an average person, can get involved and become an exporter of these goods and an importer of goods that the continent needs as well. Okay, but we really want to concentrate on building the economy and getting the local person working. And so we want to work on exporting. Okay, really focus in on exporting. Okay, and so there's so much that we have to offer, but it has to be an environment, a climate where we can come to the port with our goods. We can already, have all of the terms negotiated with the buyers and know exactly what our costs are going to be to ship those items, so that we can inform the buyers ahead of time. Okay, we have your goods, but it's going to cost this amount of money to get these goods to you. And you, as the person who's shipping those items, sometimes you may have to pay those fees up front. And if you get to the port and then they're giving you exorbitant fees that not only eat into your profit but exceed the cost of your product itself, you find yourself in the red even after payment. You're not going to do business. Okay, and so people are not working, items are not being shipped and sold, fruit and vegetables are basically rotting on the ground without buyers when the world needs our goods. Okay, so the problem goes deeper than just the trade of major items such as golds, minerals, and other minerals, oil and timber. It runs deeper to that. It hits the average person in the pocket. Okay, and not only does it impact the average person or the average exporter or business person, but it impacts manufacturing. Another issue is a lot of the things that we are exporting, we should not export raw. We should manufacture those goods here and then ship them. Therefore, you add value to the product. Okay, the cocoa itself, we should process those things here. We should not ship cocoa abroad and have someone else process it and then ship it back to us and we buy coffee from them. Okay, no, we should be able to manufacture manufacture those raw items here on the continent and then ship it wherever it's needed throughout the world. You're going to see a total turnaround when we take control of our ports, put in the infrastructure, make the process transparent, make the terms clear and precise and concise, and hold those accountable who are in charge of the port. Hold everybody accountable. And when the system is transparent and the terms are clear, there's very little wiggle room, or very little room for corruption to take place. Okay, so that's my suggestion, that's my idea, that's my take, and I believe if we implement it, we'll see a major change. That's why you see China taking over the ports, because they see what's going on and countries negotiating with China to take over the ports. It's not because they're much smarter, it's because they're dealing with the corruption. Now, is it corruption free? No, but it's definitely dealing with a great deal of the corruption that's taking place, and the environment that's preventing people from wanting to even import and export with the continent. It's very simple. Very simple for us to come up with that solution. Of course, there are other solutions that require experts, but dealing with the port, basically, once we attack that, we have turned the economy of the continent and individual countries around overnight. Shalom, and stay tuned for more shares.
Yeah. Hey. Ship from the shores of Cape Coast, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Senegal, black gold they were hauling. 400 years it was hard then. Kept striving to be free from Marcus the Bois. Can't forget Kwame. For reparations they did pray. To unite in their honor we do say, Yank